Hi there, maybe you've heard of flipped classrooms. Over the last 20 years, technology is better developed so that we can improve learning. One of the ways we improve learning is through flipped classrooms. This is where we take the direct instruction from a group learning space into the individual learning space. This leaves the teacher able to engage deeper with the students in the group learning space in more dynamic ways. This presentation, we're going to be talking about some statistics behind flipped learning, as well as the benefits, how to, and lastly, finishing up with the issues surrounding flipped classrooms.
Let's look at why you would use the flipped classroom. So let's look at some statistics. 96% of teachers who have used the flipped classroom would recommend that you try it. What they've noticed is that they have achieved a positive change within students. 71% of teachers found that students improved their grades. Scott Freeman from the University of Washington found that in his biology classes, the failure rate reduced from 17% to 4%, and the number of students achieving an A level increased from 14% to 24%. Instructors at the University of British Columbia found that attendance increased by 20% and engagement increased by 40%. They also found that 67% of students achieved higher test scores and 80% of students had improved attitudes towards their learning. And these improvements were amongst the advanced students and the special needs students. A Michigan high school found in their first year maths class that the failure rate decreased from 44% to 13%. So these statistics are a ringing endorsement for the flipped classroom. Let's look at some other benefits of the flipped classroom and having your material on video. The first thing, of course, is that it saves time in the classroom. If the students consume the content outside the classroom, there is more time for discussion inside the classroom. And this allows you to go deeper into your learning with higher level discussions and create greater relationships both between teacher and student to student. There are multiple uses for video resources like the flipped classroom. You can use it for tutoring. If a student misses a class, they can catch up by watching the video. If students have further questions about a particular topic, rather than explaining it again and again, you just point to the particular video that explains that content and they can go and re-watch that again and relearn that again in their own time, freeing you up for higher level activities. You can differentiate your whole classroom. Arguably, every student can be at a different level. Now, if that suits your class, your course, then you can do that. It might suit maths. You can have all your students at a different level consuming different video content at the same time. You can embed interactive content in your videos, and so it's good to have ask questions about the content. You can embed questions in the videos with programs like Edpuzzle and ClickView. Now, having content available on the mobile phone is a great benefit because it's the device of choice for young people today. Almost all seniors have one, and most middle school students have one. If they don't already, in the next 5 or 10 years, they will. They can consume content on their mobile phone in the schoolyard, after school, on the bus, on the weekends with friends. Wherever they are, they'll have their mobile phone and they can consume content. Let's look at some ways to create the flipped classroom. We're going to look at 4 ways: the video lecture, the video PowerPoint, the talking head, and existing online resources. So firstly, the video lecture. This is simply yourself in front of a whiteboard. You might use a mobile phone on a tripod. We did here, tripod, mobile phone, sitting on a chair, standing on a desk. And we videoed Ben here giving a lecture in front of the whiteboard. Easy. The second way is narrating PowerPoints. You can do that via the PowerPoint program on your computer. We assume that you know how to make a PowerPoint. You can also video your screen, and that's what we're doing here as well. The talking head is another way. This is using your laptop's inbuilt camera. We recommend you elevate your laptop. Here's one I prepared earlier. Now this one is very rudimentary. You can see in the background that's my messy office, and it may cause some distraction, so don't let that stop you from starting. But as you become more professional, you'll want to eliminate distractions in the background. Let's quickly look at some existing online resources. We'll look at ClickView, Khan Academy, TED Talks, and of course there are YouTube channels. So ClickView is a great resource for teachers, but your school will need to subscribe to ClickView. Khan Academy specialises in maths and science, fantastic flipped classrooms. And then there's TED Talks, which aren't necessarily on specific, subject-oriented topics, but they are great videos to consume in the classroom for discussion. Now, you will probably come up against hurdles and objections, and so it's good to understand what objections you might encounter and how to overcome them. The first one, of course, if you have all your resources already prepared, well, now we're suggesting to operate in the flipped classroom model, you're going to have to prepare a whole lot of video again, and so it will require an investment of time. Now, you might find that you've got other teachers and partners in your faculty who can share this workload and then share those resources. That's a good way to do it. Or you just don't need to, of course, flip your whole course. Use a mix of traditional and flipped classroom. Technology can be a hurdle. Of course, if you're not overly tech savvy, it can be. And so you may need to upskill. We certainly did. Now there's multiple delivery methods, so you might find you can do one but not another. But if you want to use multiple, you will need to upskill. So the most important thing, of course, is to upskill something in some area and have a go. Motivation of the students is important. Now, some people believe that participating in the flipped classroom model, that students have improved motivation to consume that content. Now, that may or may not be true. We're still out on whether that can happen. However, we do need to motivate the students to consume this content. So you need to promote it to your students. Give them no excuses. Show them how to do it. Show them where to find it. Let them have no excuse as to be able to consume this content. I'd recommend in your first lecture, class, actually do one in class, okay? Also provide assessment marks to motivate students to view the content outside of class. You might like to allocate 5 or 10% of the term or the semester's assessment towards simply consuming the content outside of class. Now, providing rewards or using rewards programs will also motivate students to consume content outside of class. We recommend gamification, using an application like Classcraft, for example. Now, you will need to consider differentiating your class, because hopefully most kids will consume the content and you can go into deeper level discussions with those. However, count on the fact that some students will not have watched the videos, watch the content, and they will need to do that in class. So, in summary, statistics overwhelmingly support the use of the flipped classroom, that there are some great benefits to utilizing the flipped classroom model. There are multiple benefits. It's not simply creating more time and going to deeper levels, but it's for tutoring as well. We've shown you how to create the flipped classroom. You can do the lecture video, the PowerPoint video, the talking head, or find existing content already online. And there will be hurdles, but overcome those hurdles, because the outcomes for yourself can be very beneficial.